I'm Jeanette, Vice President of Marketing at Hounds here at the NAED Marketing Summit. Today I'm with Catherine Hamilton, the founder of Trestle Solutions. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, I'm really glad to be here.
So you have been asked to speak to a group of marketing professionals here at the summit this week. Tell me, what is your topic about?
My topic is marketing metrics that matter, and we are going to be looking at metrics from a little bit of a different viewpoint than folks are used to. Everyone dives into KPIs and scorecards and dashboards right away, and we're going to zoom out to a higher level view to look at metrics and how they can influence, build trust, and how they feed into business decisions.
So tell me a little bit about why that matters for, I think the people that are at this event are more like VPs of marketing, marketing managers, marketing directors. So why do these metrics and the way that we look at these metrics actually matter for their business?
Yeah, very often marketing it's on a continuum of perception, and many marketing departments may still be perceived as a service department within the company, and there is an evolution to becoming perceived as a professional marketing function that drives business growth. And the way that we talk about metrics and what they mean, how we add context to them, directly correlates to that continuum of evolving perception. And so I want to lead the discussion about how to talk about metrics and move into a place where we are seen as marketing influencing business outcomes.
What are some of the key metrics that marketers should be focusing more on?
A couple of key metrics are, of course, conversion to lead or conversion to outcome, because that's where marketing and sales align. We have marketing metrics as well, of course, cost per lead or cost per opportunity. Something that I want marketers to fight for, because sales will get activity through to revenue much earlier than marketing does, often years before marketing gets visibility on that through line. And it directly correlates to marketing being perceived, moving from that service function to a professional department, is the ability to tie marketing activities to what the business gets. Even if a marketing department, however, a marketing leader is at a much earlier stage in their measurement journey and they have access to soft metrics, say brand mentions or feedback from sales representatives, that's okay. The soft metrics still have value because they are signals that what marketing is doing is moving the needle.
And so how can a marketing person frame the metrics that they get on a, weekly, monthly basis to show that what they're doing is actually contributing to the end goals of the company?
Mm-hmm. I advocate for always adding insight to metrics. And so often what we see is marketers kind of throw in the dashboard over the fence to their CEO, CFO, or sales colleagues, and assuming and trusting that they will read it and they will interpret the metrics the way that marketing does. And it's always an opportunity to add, what do you see? What does it mean? And what business decision is this influencing? So I want the marketer to add their insight and context and smarts to any communication that is around metrics that goes outside, that they send. And I want them to tailor that messaging to the specific audience and answer, what does that audience care about, and provide that type of context.
Yeah, I think sometimes in my marketing team, we forget that not everybody understands all the acronyms that we use.
So true.
Yeah, so that's maybe one of those things that you could speak to, like how to translate what you do in the marketing world to like the C-suite, for example.
Absolutely. Oh, the acronym check is constant. We all have to keep it top of mind. Even preparing for my presentation, and I'm always thinking about acronyms, and I still had a couple in there. So I had to remove them. So as marketers, we market to audiences. That's what we're great at. We understand our audiences. And so often, I don't think a marketing leader is necessarily trained on this in any formal way. It's remembering that even when it comes to metrics, you are still marketing to an audience and understanding which metrics are most important to that audience, what matters to them, what problems do they need to solve or big decisions do they need to make, and how do you ladder the information and the metrics that you're providing to what they need to know. So there's going to be a meeting point. How does this metric inform your business decision there? And making sure that they understand what that means and what the context is. And what do they do with it? Or what does marketing do with it as an outcome of that information?
That's such a good point, because we so often focus on the personas we're communicating to with our marketing and forget that internal communication within your company is, you should be using the same maybe mentality around like understanding the personas, understanding your CEO, understanding, the COO, in the same way that we spend so much effort and time adapting our language, adapting our technique with all the rest of our marketing initiatives.
Yeah, that's so true. And internal, like at a staff level, then at an executive level, then at, say for partners, manufacturing partners, et cetera, or external partners, and how do you communicate there? So understanding what the different audiences come to the table with as far as marketing knowledge, what are their needs, and as I said before, the problems that they need solved, and what are they going to do with the information? I find very often internal presentations, especially maybe at a staff communication level, folks go away with, well, that was an interesting tour of the numbers. I don't, it was an hour of blah, 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 and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that or why it's important to my world. So the onus is on us as marketers to translate and tell a story, tell the story that's within the numbers.
Yeah, maybe help connect the dots a little bit for the rest of your company.
Yes, connect the dots from what marketing is doing to what the business gets.
And so things, especially in the world of distribution and manufacturing, have changed quite a bit as it relates to metrics, because now we have a lot more platforms, we have a lot more social media, there's so much more going on. And I think especially if you look in distribution, which is for NAED, a lot of the people that are going to be here this week, they are marketing in a world where in a decade, half of the people that we are marketing to are going to be retiring, and then they're going to be replaced by younger tradespeople, younger contractors. And so the need for not just the metrics, but also like those platforms where you're getting those metrics from are changing so much. So can you maybe speak to some of the challenges that people in this environment are facing as it relates to like all of the different platforms and all of the different marketing initiatives that are changing so dramatically now?
I think at the core of it is that what was a hard sell, no one wants to be a hard sell anymore. Maybe they never did. That's arguable. But I think we're moving from product-led sales and product first to problem solving. And so as a marketer, I would be looking at the customer journey and doubling down on what I'm solving, what's my audience, what's keeping them up at night, how do I help solve that? And then looking at content that educates but doesn't overwhelm. I think that's where we start to bring in value. We need to keep evolving as marketers, and that's an exciting thing to do. We have to evolve alongside our audiences, our buyers, and continually iterate and pay attention to what matters to them and what we can solve for them. But I was going to say, marketers, because we know audiences so well, that's our jam. We're in a perfect position to lead this evolution into the future, in my opinion.
And how do you see the relationship between sales and marketing teams changing over time?
Great question. I've worked with clients and within companies where sales and marketing are siloed. and they don't work together. So I as far as marketing metrics maturity goes, that's at a very early stage. So they're two separate camps. Then we move to marketing and sales somewhat working together. Maybe they have some conversations, but at least they're talking. The real opportunity is in marketing and sales, sharing KPIs, sharing a journey, sharing the outcome together. And yes, they're going to have each going to have very specific metrics for their function, but then they have some shared metrics. And I believe that's the way that marketing and sales become very powerful together. And it's a very powerful combination that I work with teams to get to that place.
Yeah, one of the big things that we talk about all the time now is we're hoping that, with more e-commerce, with different changing buyer expectations as far as like how you can actually buy something, that it becomes easier to track from when you get somebody who sees something, maybe it's a digital ad or maybe it's an organic social post, all the way through to like their actual decision to make a purchase. And we talk a lot about like, how do you track that? And I hope that, I guess maybe I should ask you, do you see that becoming easier to follow and understand and kind of get insights from that journey, from I'm seeing some marketing to I'm actually buying something, or I'm making, you look at the funnel and I'm actually now becoming a customer, or I'm purchasing something? Is that becoming easier or harder?
It's a good question. I think for the companies that I work with in the messy middle, so mid-market, B2B, B2C, messy middle, high growth ambition, it's challenging. Great if you're D2C and you're solely based on digital metrics. And I think a lot of marketers in the messy middle are so thankful for their digital metrics because those are the most robust metrics they can get. Maybe they do events and shows as well. Maybe they have traditional advertising, and it's really difficult to pull those through to sale. And they may also be in a place of attribution, like who touched it last is what I call that. So whatever metric the customer touched last is the one that gets credit for the activity, though marketing may have had 7 or 8 touch points in the journey prior to that last touch point. This is why I push for finding a way to connect that dashboard, to connect that data through to sale. And what often happens is in companies is finance gets their reporting, sales gets their reporting, and then it kind of stops. Marketing gets some, maybe a bit, but they don't get that connection through to sale. And that takes either an internal analyst, it takes hiring someone external, it takes finding a way, like using a whole external vendor, data lake, and creating a custom dashboard. There are ways around it, but marketing has to be able to make the case for that, push, and get it on a development timeline and get it approved for investment to make that connection through to the metrics, through to revenue. I don't know if this is making sense, but
yeah, that's
we stop short, and we'll stop short for years. And sales has the data, finance has the data, and marketing doesn't. And we pay for that.
Yeah, but that's something that we're trying to shift away from just our own instinct to being able to make more strategic business decisions with, we have a lot of resources that go into paid channels or events, and it's so important to be able to see like what is the actual ROI from the initiatives that marketing is leading.
It is. And it's funny, and for earlier stage companies, or earlier stage as far as marketing marketing metrics maturity goes, I talk about triangulation because at that point you're using like gut feel, you're using a bit of data that you can get over here, and then you may be using past performance or how did you hear about us, or something that's captured that is not accurate, but it is consistently inconsistent over time, right? Basically about what that brings in. So using a few different metrics, you can piece together what you believe is a reasonable or logical ROI, but it's tough. It's a tough stage.
So what inspired you to found your company?
I have been this marketer. I was this marketer in corporate for decades. I think really good at what I did, and at the same time working in companies that had ambitious growth plans, and you have the tension between achieving your KPIs, needing to rebuild the foundation, often tearing it back to the studs, to support the company's growth goals, and trying to do that while not burning out your team or yourself. So I went through many cycles of doing that, and then I decided that what I wanted to do was help marketing leaders through the stage of growth, and not only as a sounding board, but as here's how you get from here to there. I've done this many times. We're going to go through the people, the plan, and the processes, and we are going to shortcut this. And in doing so, I'm also going to help marketing leaders get out of the weeds, stay in their zone of genius up high, and because so often they're at this stage, they're caught between execution and being an executive. So I want to help them at that stage.
And for people who maybe haven't had the honor of working with you yet, do you have any actionable tips or steps that, let's say, when you're speaking at the event, is there anything you want to share with the audience that they can take away from this and they can go and actually implement something that will improve their ability to use metrics more effectively?
Yes, I am sharing a tool in my workshop, which is a marketing metrics maturity scorecard, so that they can see where they are at in a build, evolve, and influence stages of marketing. And then we're going to go into 5 different categories that I believe a marketing leader needs to look at with regards to measurement. And we're going to move through that, and also talk a little bit about executive communication and ROI storytelling.
So what are some of those 5 that you are going to be talking about?
Yeah, there's how we look at metrics, there's dashboards, there is the executive communication and the storytelling and sales and marketing alignment. So that's that high level view that I spoke about at the beginning of when we sat down. Most marketers, when we talk about metrics, dive right into KPIs and dashboards. And I want them to zoom out, and we're going to look at the whole picture that is part of ROI storytelling and executive communication. Yeah.
What are some of the common roadblocks that you see companies facing as they approach changes in marketing?
The biggest roadblock I see is legacy thinking. Marketing is perceived and seen as a service department, and that makes it extremely difficult to justify an investment that's going to lead to change within marketing. At the same time, this is usually happening, sales has increased expectations of marketing as a company grows, and marketing is not resourced to deliver to those expectations. So the good news is when marketing and sales are aligned, everything gets easier.
Great. Anything else that you'd like to share?
I think we've covered it.
Well, thank you so much. Good luck on stage. I'm excited to hear your presentation, and I appreciate you sharing with us.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.